Hey everyone, Michelle here. In today's video, I want to share with you all how I make my kimchi. Hey everyone, it's Michelle. In today's video, I am sharing with you all how I make kimchi. This recipe, I wish I could say it's been passed down through the generations of my family. My mother taught me and it was my grandmother or great grandmother's recipe, but no, I learned by myself or with my husband on YouTube, watched various different videos, follow the recipe first of Jennifer Myers because hers is like the most simple, bare bones. And then, I looked at Mang cheese and other recipes that I found online. And eventually, throughout the years, through trial and error, this is what my kimchi is. And it's just a mixture of everyone's recipe, really, and just suited to mine and my husband's taste. I have made this, like I said, for 3 years now, and I've gifted it to various family members and friends, and it's been a hit. So I wanted to share it with you all because, as you know, for healthy skin, you need to have a healthy gut. And for me, for my health journey, when I was fixing my gut, one of the major things I included in my diet is probiotics. And I'm not talking here or there, it's like daily basis. It was actually the only kimchi and sauerkraut were pretty much the only forms of fiber I could even consume because having a salad in general, I would just bloat and feel really uncomfortable. And the kimchi available where I live, let's just say it's not good at all. Like the one that we bought was so watered down, sweet. It didn't even taste fermented at all. So we were like, let's just make it ourselves, even if we didn't have the gochugaru, the Korean red pepper flakes available. So I've tried it without the gochugaru. I've tried it with green cabbage, and it's turned out to be kimchi either way, but I managed to score Napa cabbage. I brought some gochugaru from Canada, and now that we have a Korean market, there is gochugaru there, and I use the coarse flakes. But anyways, I will get into that later on in the video. I wanted to share with you my recipe because I do believe gut health is very important for healthy skin. I have a dedicated video on how I healed my acne holistically, and that includes eating well. Kimchi played a very crucial part in that healing process. There was a whole year I was very strict with how I ate because I was trying to fix myself, but it was basically focus on the protein, little carbs like a safe carb like rice, and then kimchi on the side. But even then, I couldn't eat a lot of kimchi at the time, only little amounts here or there. So kimchi in the mix of everything else I was eating for that year to fix my gut really helped. It is going to be a voiceover because, as you can see behind me, there's a little head there. I have a daughter. She likes to make very funny noises throughout the day, and I'm not very good at talking through a recipes video because I've never done one before. So I figured it'll be better to do a voiceover and just do the intro and outro as like an in-person video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do end up trying this recipe, please let me know how it goes or what you do differently in general to make kimchi. Anything I could do to improve. I'm not like a pro in the kitchen at all. I'm quite the amateur actually. It's only been recently I've been into making stuff in the kitchen, but the kimchi I've been making for a few years now. I'm rambling now. Let's get into the video. Cabbage all washed and ready to go. Oh my God. Step one, we are preparing the cabbage for brining, and because I have a small bowl, I have to do this in quarters. So as you can see, I'm taking whatever small pieces of the cabbage and just tossing it into the bowl, and I am pre-cutting the cabbage into like 1-inch, 2-inch pieces. This is how I typically like to eat the kimchi. I don't really care to just massage the entire quarter head of cabbage. I also don't have the space for it, so this is just way more convenient, and I do like to salt water brine, and this is the best way to do it. Because I don't have a big enough bowl, I do need to massage the cabbage as I go. Here I'm using half a cup of coarse sea salt, but to be honest, this is quite a bit, especially for the size of this cabbage. I usually use half a cup when the cabbage is around 2 kilos. That's around 4 pounds, just over 4 pounds, whereas this one is half the size of that, so around 1 kilo.
2.5 pounds max. So you definitely don't need this much salt for that size of cabbage. I would recommend a quarter cup or even less, or sprinkle as you go like you're seeing in the video here. In case of this cabbage, I did end up using the entire half cup just because I was a bit on autopilot mode while filming this video, but nothing a rinse can't handle. Very big rinse at that, but you'll see that later on when I do some taste testing. Also, if you're wondering why I'm wearing the food handling gloves, it is to, well, protect my hands. I've been making kimchi for 3 years, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So the salt kind of stings when I am massaging the kimchi. My nails are also pretty gnarly. Haven't had a chance to go to the nail salon. I've been sick for about a month. Same with my daughter. My husband's also been sick. You know what's worse than being sick? Being sick and taking care of a baby that's also sick. It was quite a ride. Anyways, as you can see, the more I massage the cabbage, the smaller it's getting, and I just keep adding leaves as I go, as well as the salt. I do this until the entire cabbage head fits into the bowl. After that, that's when I add water just until the top of the leaves. And I like water brining because I find the salt disperses better with every leaf. After adding the water, I place a pretty heavy bowl on top just to make sure the leaves are staying in place during the brining process, and I just cover it up with a dishcloth and wait for 3 hours. An hour or so before rinsing out the leaves, I get started on the marinade. So here I am making the porridge, and FYI, this is my first time using glutinous rice flour. I've been using regular rice flour the whole time, so how it turned out at the end wasn't what I was expecting it to. But anyways, the portions I use are 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of the glutinous rice flour, and 1 tablespoon of sugar once the flour has mixed into the water evenly. And then periodically I am just mixing and mixing until I reach the desired consistency I want. And typically with the consistency, when I'm checking it and it's runny, that's when I think it's ready to be taken off the heat. With the glutinous rice porridge, however, when I took it off the heat with this consistency, it still stayed the same. It did not end up becoming more viscous. So I thought I screwed up, but later on you'll see it actually turns out okay. Pausing the marinade for a moment, I'm just getting all the fresh stuff ready. And in this case, in the kimchi, I like adding carrots and green onion. Here you will see my true skills in the kitchen. I am terrible at cutting. It takes me a really long time. If you have any recommendations on how to properly julienne carrots, let me know. Getting back to the marinade, I am starting off with the fresh stuff minus the garlic. The garlic I like to add in last for some reason, but here I am just cutting up a pear and I'll be grating it. I have tried using the Asian pear before. It's a little bit pricey, so regular pear, Royal Gala apple, Fuji apple, any sweet type of fruit like that is completely fine. I have tried it and it turns out pretty much the same. I don't notice a difference with the Asian pear other than that is what's traditionally used. If you're wondering about the skin from the pear, as you can see, I'm not even including the skin in the marinade. It just stops. I just stop grating once I reach that part of the skin. And yep, that's it. This part wasn't filmed, but I did end up adding an extra pear into the marinade, and it was exactly the same size. So usually a pretty large apple or pear I would normally use. Going into the dry and wet ingredients, I'm setting aside a teaspoon of the salted shrimp. I forgot what they were called in Korean, but that's typically what I like to use, and I like to just mince it up into the marinade, and I save that for last. I'm finally adding in gochugaru. I use the coarse flake kind, and I use about 4 heaping tablespoons. That is the happy medium between me and my husband, who likes it really spicy, whereas I have a limit. Next, I like to add in 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, but as you can see in the reflection of the spoon, I was struggling to get that bottle open. I actually had to walk over to my husband, who was feeding our baby to sleep at the time, to open the bottle because I just could not get the dang thing open. After my husband made his contribution to the kimchi making, I finally add those 3 tablespoons of fish sauce to the marinade. Finally. Next fishy item added to the marinade is that teaspoon of salted fermented shrimp I set aside, also known as Seiyujot. I have no idea if I'm saying that properly. Listen, I may be half Korean, but no one spoke to me in Korean in my family. My grandparents spoke to me in English, so yeah. Opportunity to be a polyglot has definitely passed. This is the part where I thought I screwed up because I saw how runny the porridge was, and I thought, oh my gosh, my kimchi is going to be so watery and it's not going to turn out exactly how I want it. But you'll see later on when I mix, it actually looks okay. And here I'm adding around 8 to 10 cloves of garlic. Yep, and here we are mixing everything in. And as you can see, the porridge actually doesn't look too bad. And this is typically the consistency I like to see in the marinade for the kimchi. Do you think this is too runny? Let me know in the comments down below. I usually like to go for this texture, and then we have a little bit of kimchi juice near the end, and we just add it to whatever stews when the kimchi's fermented a lot more. Now for the most important part, which is rinsing the cabbage. Considering that I used half a cup of salt to brine, it's very imperative that we rinse it really well, because for this we want majority of the salty taste to come from the fish sauce and the salted fermented shrimp. If I wasn't using those two, sure, make the cabbage a little bit more salty and don't rinse as thoroughly, but in this case we rinsed it very thoroughly. Actually, my husband ended up taking over. This was off camera, and we soaked it in water a couple of times to really make sure that the cabbage leaves were not super salty. While you're rinsing the leaves, it's really important to also taste test various different leaves to make sure it's not super salty. When my husband took over and started soaking the leaves, he was taste testing as well. It definitely doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. After I rinse the cabbage, I take it through a salad spinner just to make sure all the excess water is out. Then I add that dried cabbage into a clean bowl, add the veggies I chopped up on the side, and finally the marinade. Look at that red, juicy goodness. Trust me when I say it smelled so good when I was adding it to the bowl. Now it's time for the fun part, which is mixing everything together. So here I am once again wearing food handling gloves. And I'm using one hand just because I want my other to be clean and ready to grab a jar, open the lid, and just, yeah, I just want one hand to be available for all that type of stuff and use the other for the messy bits. While mixing in the marinade, I'm making sure to do this gently because I don't want to rip up any of the leaves. They are pretty soft and delicate at this point, especially after a few hours of brining and just drying it in a salad spinner. And I keep massaging in the marinade until I just feel like everything has been sufficiently coated. And once I feel like it's been done, I finally transfer it into a jar. I have this nice wide opened pickle jar, and it is perfect for the amount of kimchi I made. Usually when it's a bigger cabbage, like the 2 kilogram one I mentioned, I will need a second or even a third jar. But in this case, with this size cabbage, which I would say was around 1 kilogram, this one big jar was perfect. And I like how the opening's wide enough that it can fit my hands in it, and I can really press down, making sure there are no air pockets and just fitting as much kimchi as possible into one jar. Here's a side view so you could see what the packing looks like, and it just looks like a bunch of red deliciousness to me. This is what the kimchi looks like, all of it in this one big jar, and it's important to leave a little bit of room at the top, or a considerable amount of room actually, just because when it's fermenting, the gas is going to build up. And the last kimchi batch I made, I didn't leave enough room, and some of the juice spilled out of the cap, and it wasn't really able to ferment properly. So just make sure that you have a bit of space, and if you don't have enough space, just make sure to burp the kimchi and then, seal it and ferment it again. I typically like fermenting at room temperature for around 24 hours, and then I transfer to a fridge because my husband and I like eating the kimchi rather fresh, not super fermented like you would find at a store. This is the final result of the kimchi. Like I said, it's just beautiful red deliciousness. I hope you found this recipe video different, fun, informative. Remember, the key to skin health is taking care of yourself on the inside. For me, I've really come to understand that and see it for myself for the past few years. And making kimchi myself, eating it on a regular basis, has definitely contributed to a better gut health and, as a result, skin health overall. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all soon. Ciao.